Okay, Facebook Connect, probably seen basic info about it. Mark Zuckerberg announced it at the F8 conference. It's a very big step forward for Facebook. What it actually does is to let you take your social graph, your friend network information to external websites. So Facebook is trying to go outside Facebook. The other half of it, which is extremely important for Facebook, is they want your third-party website information to be published inside Facebook. So this two-way traffic is part of Facebook's goal for being at the core of your kind of social activity, the social utility. So they're going to be trying to push people into Facebook, onto other sites, from Facebook out to the other sites. It's probably going to be one of the biggest things that Facebook will be pushing for the next few months, I think. What it looks like, Facebook have put a demo site up called the Runaround. You can access this. It's open to anyone, where you can go on here. You get to, you can see here how they think a Facebook Connect site might work. You might log on with your own username and password for that site, or you could click on the Connect with Facebook button. Clicking on that brings up something simple like this dialog box saying, do you want to connect your account on this website with your Facebook account? Probably yes, if you're there already. What can you do once you're connected? You can get information from your Facebook profile or your friends' Facebook profiles on your third-party website. So if you're on a blog, you can get people posting comments on there, displaying their photos, displaying their status updates if they feel like sharing them. You can publish stories then from your website onto people's Facebook profiles. So the news feed becomes something that third-party websites can use in a way that's similar to Beacon, but a lot more friendly because users know about it at the time. A lot of people will probably be hooking onto this to try and increase the viral growth of their own website. And the other thing, you can recreate your users' social graphs in your website. So if you have a website that has a social element, you might be able to take that friend graph information and map it across to Facebook, get people to make connections on your site that they didn't know were there, but that are there on Facebook existing. Here's an example of what it might look like on a website. You basically get these kind of Facebook-looking dialog boxes coming up. If you want to publish a story to your Facebook profile, you get something coming up which is going to be very familiar to a Facebook user with the usual publish or not publish if you choose like it. How it works, the quick tech intro, they've taken the JavaScript library that they developed back in about January, I think it was this year, that didn't get a lot of use. They've taken it one step further now. It's almost a pure JavaScript implementation at the moment. They've rolled out something called XFBML, which looks exactly the same as FBML. So if you've been developing Facebook application within Facebook, you can use some of the same tags on your external site. JavaScript passes this XFBML, turns it into FBML, renders profile pictures, users' names, that kind of thing. You can make API calls from your website, so you can get friend data, you can get all the kind of work info, education info, pretty much anything on the profile, anything that you can get through the usual Facebook profile, so anything you can get through an application. This is kind of where you start, how you get the basics of Facebook Connect onto your website. So very simply, we just embed this script tag. See here, we've got something that looks a lot like Facebook markup language. We've got a Facebook login button. The script tag will turn that into that nice looking login button that we saw before. So expanding it a bit, we want to actually do something. We say we're going to use some XFBML. So we say this is again Facebook's own functions. We're going to require this XFBML library. That's loaded in the JavaScript code that we're going to use. And then we start writing a function that we want to run once the library's finished loading. So in this case, we initiate the Facebook API connection. This is the API key for our application. So this is the thing that every Facebook application has, the public API key. You don't ever put your private API key in anything JavaScript, anything publicly viewable. And we pass it another function, the get session state, we call to say when the user has logged in, we want to do something. Once they've clicked that login button, if they don't click the login button, we don't run any of this code, so the site will work just as normal. So what do we want to do once they've clicked login? Well, in this case, we're just going to get their friends and we're going to show them the alert box. Nothing very interesting, but you probably see the highlighted red API call is very similar to the kind of API calls we get with usual Facebook client libraries, the PHP library, the Ruby library, the .NET libraries. So a lot of the code is going to be quite familiar if you know JavaScript. Things you can't do that you can do with an application. You can't publish anything to your friends' news feed. You can publish to your own news feed, you can't publish to your friend's news feed. They may roll out publishing your friend's news feed when they've worked out how to make it more secure. You can update a user's profile box. So if you're on you have a website with a Facebook application and they've added the profile box, you can update the contents of that profile box while they're on the website. They don't even have to be in Facebook. And at the moment, they've only rolled out a few FBML tags. So there are about 8 or 9 tags for profile pictures, names, that kind of thing. The other interesting aspect is be able to migrate your social graph from Facebook to your third-party website. This is saying all my friends that might be connected on my own little social network, let's see if they're connected on Facebook. They do this through using a kind of hashed up email addresses that you pass backwards and forwards. You can then prompt people who aren't users of your website but are friends in Facebook to come and use your website. So this is something that could be used by a lot of websites to increase their kind of spread, take some of the viral nature of applications that we've seen and basically take them into the wider web. Of course, there are disadvantages. People who think this is great, I'll be able to get all of the Facebook users straight onto my site within a couple of weeks, 200 million users, that would be great. For a start, it's in JavaScript, which isn't always the most manageable code. Lots of developers manage to get used to using JavaScript after a while, but it can look a bit messy and be a bit hard to manage. It's not something that, well, apart from Google uses it very well, there aren't that many people who build big applications. You may need a bit of lateral thinking to hook it up with your own database because everything's happening in the client. You then want to try and post it to the server. You're writing application code partly in the client environment, partly in the server environment. There are no SEO benefits. All of this being JavaScript, you point a search engine at your page with what you think is a nice list of a user and their friends. Google isn't going to see any of it. They're not going to see much of that kind of social activity. And if someone comes to your site with JavaScript enabled, then they're not going to get any Facebook Connect whatsoever. It also doesn't let you access anything more than you could access with the Facebook API for applications anyway, so you can't get all of these user details out and then populate your site with them. You can get a certain amount out, but you can't get things like email address, which is the most common thing that a client's likely to ask. If a user changes their privacy settings, so if a friend says, I don't want a random application to access my data, then you'll get some of those little anonymous kind of blue-headed images appearing on your site. People break down their friend connections. If they cancel friend connection with each other, you're going to also get that removed from your site, and you don't own the data unless you work out some clever way again of kind of migrating it across, map it across, probably breaking Facebook's terms of service in the process. Facebook could change anything at any time. So what's going to happen with it? It's due to be launched very soon, and they've been saying that for a while. They usually say third quarter or fourth quarter or something like that, which usually means optimistically at the end of the timescale that they say. My guess would be within the next 2 months anyway. I'd expect it to be out sort of November time. They seem to be making fewer changes to it. It is going to be a big focus for Facebook. They've said they want to be the social utility, the social platform. So they want to be the center of people's social activity on the web as a whole. If they manage to make it work, then I think it's going to be something that keeps Facebook sustained. We can be pretty sure if Facebook Connect catches on that Facebook is not going to go away for quite a long time. It's not a fad. I think because Facebook want it to work, you're probably going to see Connect stories being given greater priority in the news feed. That's what I'd do if I was inside Facebook. So if you publish a site on your story from your external site, you might have a better chance, this is guesswork, you might have a better chance of it getting published in a friend's news feed because they want you to use that kind of information and jump backwards and forwards. And you're going to be seeing Facebook Connect plugins for blogs, Digger. They announced at F8, whether they've actually written it or not is another matter. A few people have written WordPress plugins. Basically any kind of Web 2.0 site is probably going to have a Facebook Connect plugin. 2 links at the bottom. There's something up there. The runaround is the demo that I showed, and the insider.com is the first public Facebook Connect implementation, because although it's in beta, you can write a Facebook Connect site and apply to Facebook to have it approved. Quick runaround.